Hi, we are live. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Should You Take That Case? And our goal here is to be a resource for other legal professionals who um, manage or deal with medical cases by sharing our experiences, sharing our insights that we've gained while pursuing those medical cases. Welcome again. I am your host, Lisa Wade. I'm a legal nurse consultant and owner of Wade Nurse Consultants. I'm also the creator of our private LinkedIn community, Attorney Medical Record Resource Group. And that is where we get all of our wonderful attorney guests like Douglas Burrell, who is going to be on our show momentarily. We just hope we can use this as an opportunity to get to know one another a little bit better. But first, let's get over to the chat, the comments to see who might be with us live today and say hello. There may be some past show guests, Aaron Hicks, if you're out there, Megan Whiteside, Annalise Codrington, and welcome if you're here. There may be some new members to our resource group. Wendy Samuelson, hi Wendy, and William Popjoy, who is new, and he will be a guest on our show on June 7th. So if you're all out there, or any of you out there, say hello. Put an A in the chat if you're an attorney or a part of our Attorney Medical Record Resource Group. Put a W in the chat if you're part of Women Owned Law, like I am, and also Wendy Samuelson. Put a W in that chat so we can take a look at you and say hello. And anybody that is here live, welcome. If you are catching us on the replay, please uh, enter those an M or an A and let us know you're there. And thank you all for taking your precious time out of your precious busy days and coming to our show. And now it is time to introduce our guest, Douglas Burrell. Douglas Burrell has been a practicing trial lawyer for over 26 years. He developed comprehensive experience while serving as first chair on more than 40 jury trials and more than 100 bench trials. His practice consists of civil defense litigation with an emphasis on wrongful death and catastrophic injury, construction law, premise liability, transportation and trucking law, and product liability. Douglas was a two-time letter winner on the University of Iowa football team and played in the 1986 Rose Bowl. And let us welcome you now. Here's Douglas Burrell. Thank you for coming, Douglas.
Thank you for having.
Oh, I'm so glad. I'm glad you're here. And yes, it looks like you have had an interesting career and an interesting life. I'm glad you're here to share some of that with us today. Oh, so, and I'm going to ask you those other questions, those questions about the medical records that you deal with in your medical cases. But first, we want to hear a little bit more about you and what led you to your practice and where you are in life right now.
I'm sorry, for some reason we winked out and this rebooted. Mind asking me that question again?
Oh, okay, no problem. It's just that, like I said, I do want to talk to you about the medical cases that have been part of your career and how you've managed them. But we want to hear a little bit more about you and how you got to where you are now as an attorney, and feel free to go back as to childhood if you need to.
Well, I grew up in the state of Iowa. My parents were born in the state of Iowa. My parents come from big families. My mom's the oldest of 12. My father is one of 7. I am one of 8 children. I was born in Iowa City, Iowa, when my parents went to the university, and then they moved 30 minutes north to Cedar Rapids, Iowa, where I grew up. I also walked on to the University of Iowa football team, earned a scholarship, and played. After undergrad, I worked for the Quaker Oats Company for a couple of years, and I learned how to manage people. But one day they came in and decided that they were going to lay off some of management. And they got us all together and they said, if we call you on your office phone or page you on your pager, come down to personnel and we're gonna, you're gonna be terminated. We're gonna escort you out the building. I survived, but I did a total reassessment of my career and where it was gonna go. And I asked myself the 2 questions I think everybody must ask themselves at one point in their life, which is, what is it that I really want to do? And the second question is, what do I need to do to get there? And so I looked at my finances, and 6 months later, I resigned, and I was full-time at the University of Iowa College of Business, because I was working on an MBA at the time, part-time. But my eye was on law school, and so during the full semester in the MBA program, I applied to law school. I was accepted, and I ultimately did what was called a joint law MBA degree, because I spent my first year working on my MBA. They knocked off a semester of my MBA program and a semester of my law school, and so I can programs in 4 years as opposed to 5 years if I would have.
Ooh, oh, you're frozen a little bit.
And 3 years on law school.
I'm sorry.
Law school. I started. Oh,
yeah, you blocked out a little bit.
All right, where did I miss out, or where did I freeze?
I heard law school.
All right, well, when I was in the MBA program at the University of Iowa, I applied to law school and was accepted, and then I did what's called a joint law MBA degree, where they knock off a semester of your MBA program and knock off law school. So I completed both degrees in 4 years as opposed to the 5 that it would have taken. After I graduated from law school, I went and worked at a full service law firm in my hometown of Cedar Rapids, Iowa. Did not think I was going to leave Iowa until I met my wife, who is a television news anchor. Realized that if we were going to be serious, I was going to have to move. And so I made probably the best career decision that I could make is, while I was waiting for my wife's contract to run out, I went and prosecuted and learned how to try cases for almost 3 years. And then my wife got a job down in Georgia as the main female news anchor at the CBS affiliate in Macon, Georgia. I looked at the map and saw that Atlanta was close and said, let's go. And so I've been at my current firm for approximately 20 years. I specialize in wrongful death and catastrophic injury cases, mainly assets liability, trucking and products liability. And I became an equity partner in my law firm and now spend my time working with younger attorneys to try and help them while also running my cases. So I work in trucking, like I said, rideshare, premises liability, and product liability cases. Some of it I got there by happenstance. Rideshare, I was able to make a pitch and get business and learn the rideshare business. I worked with partner who specialized in trucking and premises liability, and that's where I'm at. And product liability, when I was working in Iowa. So that's how I have this combination of practice.
All right, excellent. Well, so the trucking, it sounds like a big part of what you do, and it sounds like maybe medical records may come up during those some of those issues. But tell us what factors go into you deciding if when these medically related cases come up, if they're viable or not viable cases.
Well, the good thing is I don't make that decision because I'm a civil defense attorney. So someone sues my client, and if it's a trucking client, it is after a trucking accident. If it is a premises liability, it's after a robbery or a murder or something like that that occurs on somebody's property. And so big serious injury or death cases come with a lot of medical records that you have to review and understand. And in our case, we have a couple of nurse paralegals that work in our practice group who we rely on to get the medical records for us, review the medical records, prepare a medical chronology, prepare summary medical bills, and provide us that information, and then we can ask them questions so that we can be prepared to defend the case. And a lot of times, we'll see gaps in treatment, and we rely on them to track down additional medical records that they see to help us complete the picture of a person's treatment, a person's pre-existing medical condition. We see a lot of back injuries in trucking accident cases. And so one of the things that we want to know is, did this person have prior problems with their back? And we rely on our nurse paralegals to track down those records. They also make recommendations to us about life care planners and doctors who specialize in various areas. We can rely on their expertise to tell us what's going on with that particular plaintiff so that we can figure out whether their injuries are directly related to our client's actions or whether else is going on.
Mm-hmm. Well, it sounds like medical histories and finding what may be missing or in some of those records are important things to you.
Absolutely critical to help us understand the picture of the plaintiff's health, both before and after the accident.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, I'll ask you, it sounds like you do have nurse paralegals that manage most of this, but I'm just asking, you mentioned medical histories, having that information being important, missing records, what's missing, that's important. Is there anything else in particular that you find puzzling or bothersome about dealing with those medical records?
Well, the language and the terminology is very difficult to understand when you don't have a medical background. Certainly, we rely on legals to translate for us. But one of the things that I was fortunate enough to do is I took a course that was presented by a doctor early on in my career. And I got a pretty thick book from him about how to understand and read medical records and what to look for. And one of the things I learned is one of the first things you want to look for is the discharge summary of medical records. And so that was extremely helpful to me to use that book to understand what I want to look for, what terminology, what things mean when it comes to reviewing medical records.
All right. And what advice, and I know you have a lot of experience and you're passing that on to fledgling attorneys now, but what advice do you have for fledgling attorneys or even veteran attorneys about managing these medical cases?
Rely on your experts. My nurse paralegals are experts. They were specifically trained in the medical field, and I wasn't. And so I rely on them tremendously to guide me through a case. I never assume or presume that I really know our medical field, even though I've been doing this for a long time. There's always something new that pops up or crops up that I may not understand, or I may need them to verify for me once again. And so I always rely on the experts to help me.
Well, Douglas, it seems like you are full of understanding about knowing what you don't know.
You know, my philosophy is you find good people who are experts in what they do, and you let them do what they do, and then let them advise you and teach you. That is, to me, the smartest way to work. And that literally goes back to my days before I went to law school and I was working for the Quaker Oats Company and I was managing people. And, you know, at first my philosophy was, well, I'm the boss, you should do what I ask you to do. I quickly learned that to try to tell people what to do when they know their job way better than I do, the worst mistake. The best thing you can do is learn from the.
Oh, you phased out again, Douglas.
Becomes of find good people, find good people, stay out of their way, and let them advise you.
Oh, excellent. That sounds like wonderful advice, and you are full of knowledge and experience. And thanks for sharing it with us today. We are going to scoot over in a few to see if anybody has a little Q&A. If anybody has any questions that Douglas Burrell could answer, I'm sure there are many of them that he can answer. So why don't you all, if you're out there live, get that together, get ready to include it into the comments, into the chat, your questions for Douglas. Even if you're watching on the replay, you can still add those questions and comments. While you are getting that together, I'm going to scoot over and do a little sponsor break, which I usually do around this time. And it's about everybody may not be completely clear about what legal nurse consultants do. So I'm going to make it clear for you today. At Wade Nurse Consultants, we're all about review, research, and roadmaps. When we review medical records, we summarize and translate that information into human language that's easily understood by judges or juries. And when we research, we complete medical literature researches regarding topics attorneys may not be familiar with, but they need a little more in-depth detail so they convey complex concepts to a judge or a jury. And we create roadmaps for regarding injured clients in the form of life care plans, so we can detail their future medical needs and over their lifetime, including estimated costs for that care. So to recap, legal nurse consultants at Wade Nurse Consultants are all about reviewing, researching, and creating roadmaps. So please schedule a 15-minute medical case strategy call by clicking the calendar link, which will be in the comments or in the description box of this YouTube channel, so we can chat. Now, on to Douglas's question and answers. let's scoot over to the comments and see if there's anybody visiting us live that has any burning questions for you, or concerns or comments for Douglas. And so that is my link that's in the comments for if you would like to schedule a medical case strategy call to talk about reviews, research, and roadmaps for your medical cases. And I don't see any questions right now for you, Douglas, but feel free if on the replay, if anybody has any questions for Douglas, put them in there in the comments, and Douglas's contact information is going to be in this description box for this YouTube channel. So reach out to him at any time. Is there any special way you'd like someone to contact you, Douglas?
Email is preferable. I usually respond to emails within 24 hours.
Yeah, yes, that is. And I am, I can attest to that. Douglas does respond in a smooth, quick manner to his emails, and it's much appreciated. So, like I said, it looks like we don't have any questions at the moment, but people know how to reach out to you with that contact information in our description box for this channel. And thank you for sharing your time with us, your experience. Quaker Oats lost a good a good person, but you moved on to bigger and better things.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it a lot that I apply in the legal field. So I'm enjoying it.
Oh, good. I'm so glad. And it's been wonderful having you. And I hope that you might come back again. Is that possible?
Absolutely. Just invite me.
Yeah. Oh, that'll be easy. And you've been so easy to talk with, and your time here. So I'm so grateful for you to take precious time out of your busy schedule to spend some time with us.
It's my pleasure.
Oh, well, thanks for coming, Douglas. And to our audience, in the meantime, just remind you to visit our LinkedIn group, Attorney Medical Record Resource Group. We'll have that information in the description box and in the comments to this YouTube channel. Like us, subscribe, visit us. Visit our group in LinkedIn. If it's a good fit, join us, and then you could be a guest on this show, just like Douglas. And or email me, lisa@wavenurseconsultants.com, with any questions about legal nurse consulting, about our group, about the show. I'll be happy to answer. And thank you again for coming, Douglas. Thank you, anybody that is watching, and we'll catch you next time on another episode of Should You Take That Case?
Thank you.
Bye-bye.